If you're going to make a 90s style brawler with Gabba in the soundtrack, obviously you've got my attention. I'm Kutski and this is my review of Final Vendetta on Nintendo Switch.
Get ready!
If, like me, you're a fan of the beat-em-up genre, you really are spoilt for choice at the moment. Final Vendetta is the latest offering from UK indie studio Bitmap Bureau, paying homage to the likes of Streets of Rage and Final Fight, two of my favourites growing up. The story in the game is about as deep as you'd expect, or want. Your sister's been kidnapped this time, and you select one of 3 playable characters with the traditional varied stats to brawl your way through 6 locations across the city to get your revenge on your own or in local co-op. The game has your standard controls: attack, jump, double tap in any direction to dash in and out of the action, and also a few new twists. It's common to have a special attack by pressing, say, like jump and attack together to clear the enemies in your immediate vicinity at the expense of a chunk of your player's health. Final Vendetta has this, but with the addition of a super meter at the bottom of the screen. When fully charged, you can unleash this attack without the penalty. There's a separate special attack button which has various different functions. For example, hitting the special button while standing over a downed opponent will let you stomp a mud hole into them, which is as satisfying as it is comical. There's also a dedicated block button, which I'm not used to in this type of game, and I keep forgetting it's there, to be honest, and I have to remind myself to use it when I'm getting my arse handed to me, which does happen a lot. This game's pretty difficult, even on the easy setting. I wouldn't say it's exceptionally difficult, but it's certainly on par with the harder games in the genre from back in the day. There are no modern quality of life aids either. 5 lives on hard, 7 on easy, and when you're dead, you're dead. No continues, no level select when you restart, it's back to the beginning. You're going to have to practice quite a bit to see the later levels in the game, even on the easy setting, but the game never feels unfair. The pixel art style really is striking, with its huge character sprites and detailed animation, but for me, it was the soundtrack that was the most impressive feature. The music pays homage to the era with a variety of 90s influenced beats, from hip-hop to hardcore, and with tracks from Feature Cast, Utah Saints and Crafty Cuts, it really does drip with quality. Being a lifelong fan of the UK rave scene, I can honestly say this is one of my favourite soundtracks of all time. It's a bold statement, I know, but just listen to a few of these tracks and you'll understand where I'm coming from. There are 4 different game modes: arcade, survival, boss rush and training, with the latter 3 being locked until you complete the arcade mode. I get this for the other game modes, but I've no idea why you would lock the training mode. As I mentioned earlier, the game is pretty difficult and I'd imagine a training mode would be really useful. And again, I'm not sure why you would even need the training mode once you're good enough to complete the game. I keep thinking I must be missing something obvious for why they've done this, but it did hit me as being a bit of a strange design choice. I think the best way to describe Final Vendetta is it's the game that you remember playing in the 90s. A lot of the time, your memories of these classic games are a lot kinder than you'd like to admit. If you actually go back and revisit them, the graphics aren't as good as you remember, and the game doesn't play as slick as you thought. Final Vendetta offers subtle improvements to the genre, while staying faithful to the games of that era. It's quite a bare bones experience. There are no upgrades across multiple plays, no leveling system, collectibles, or any of the modern mechanics we just assume are going to be bolted into all games these days. But the replayability comes from the tough but fair difficulty and the satisfying gameplay. My only real disappointment is the lack of online co-op due to my personal circumstances living in a different country to most of my gaming friends. But I understand adding netcode for online play isn't a case of just flipping a switch, and it does stay true to the concept of preserving the 90s experience with a couch co-op. I mean, spending time with people in person isn't that bad, is it? I feel sorry that this was released one day apart from the Turtles Shredder's Revenge game. They're in the same genre, and I think the license alone took a lot of the attention. but despite the obvious similarities, they're actually two very different approaches to the same concept. While Shredder's Revenge is great and it offers a lot of the features I mentioned were missing, Final Vendetta is a more authentic experience if you want that real 90s throwback. It's one of those cases of needing to check out both games rather than choosing one, and they're both priced affordably, so it's not going to break the bank. And again, I can't emphasise how much you need to check out the soundtrack. If you like 90s rave music or can just appreciate a great soundtrack in general, it's worth checking out for the beats alone. Hope you enjoyed this review and found it helpful. If so, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think the greatest soundtrack of all time is. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Kutski signing out, keeping the games alive.